Here is one of the favorites at the Magic Castle. We've got 3 dice here. 1 will be the leader and the 2 will be the followers, before we go into the big cups and balls effect. This is a little training, I would say, to be able to get all the dice to go to one area. A little bit of fun and a warm-up. And I just want to slowly build into the big effect. So let's just try it. Let's just try something with 1 cup. 1 cup. Let's try this out. So let's get one of the dice. We'll line them up like so, very fairly. I'll get one of the dice. I give it a little rub, and I'll go right on through. That is the first dice to go across. Second one I want to have a little bit of fun with, so you can actually see this. Dice can actually go right. Here's a little trick with 3 dice. We'll make 2 to be the following dice, and 1 to be later. You just give a little squeeze, and you get all 3 to go across like that. Now let's add a little bit more of a challenge. So let's actually use 1 cup of the 3. We'll get 1 dice, if we can. We'll get 1 of them to go right on through the cup. Like so, and that's the first of the 3 to go across. Now I want to make it a little bit more interesting. I'll show you what I mean. We get 1 of the dice and we can actually get to go right on through the hand like that. Pretty weird. Now if I do it again, but this time push it on through, you can actually get 2. That's the second one to go across. I'm not used to these cups, but we're having fun with them anyways. That's the second one. Number 3. I want to make it extra difficult. Everyone's watching. The spectator can even put their finger on top of the glass, make sure I don't get near it in any way, shape, or form. Watch the last one go through. Just like that. Spectator can lift off their fingers. They can check for themselves, and there'll be all 3 dice. A little bit of fun for everyone. Let's actually build this on up. Instead of just 1 cup, let's actually use all 3 if we can. Let's put them right here, and let's go for it. So this will be dice in cup number 1, dice in cup number 2, and the last dice in cup number 3. What we can do is get 1 of the dice to go across from here, invisibly. You can see it, and it goes right inside the center cup. We do it again, taking the invisible dice from cup number 3. You can actually sometimes really actually see it. We get the dice and actually toss it into the center cup, leaving no dice here, no dice over here, but yet all 3 in a center cup, just like that. Now, some are to wonder if there's really all 3 dice under 1 cup, or is it actually, in this case, 1 cup, or 1 dice under all 3? A little something to speculate, just think about. And I want to make it a little more interesting and more impossible each time we do this little effect. So 1 here, I'll place that right there, 1 here, and 1 here. Hopefully aligned. And I know it can be a little bit confusing. 3 dice, 3 cups, a good-looking guy. I know it could be a lot, so we'll simplify it a little bit to make it a little bit easier to understand. This one we'll actually get and we'll actually put away. We'll actually put this one away right over here. This one we'll actually come back to. This one's always the important one. The center one's always important. And the last one is going to actually do something pretty interesting, I at least think. It's going to actually jump from here to over here. It can jump from over here to over here, and it can actually go invisibly up into the air, and then eventually come back. And we'll actually put this one away as well. We also got this dice that keeps on coming back to cup number 1 no matter what I try to do. But here's the fun part. If I get this dice and I really do put it fairly inside my pocket, and I'll just leave it inside my pocket very fairly, how many dice should be under cup number 2, the center cup? What will be your answer? You can answer freely, don't worry. They would say be none, there should be 1, and some would actually speculate all 3. A little bit of fun right there. And so that's 1, 2, 3 on each cup. I thank you for your time, and I hope that the magic lives on in each and every one of you. My name is Dan, and I hope you have a good one. So now let's get to this explanation of this wondrous cups and balls. This is a medley of different techniques and ideas I sourced from the world's greatest magic, from the L&L Publishing, all 3 volumes of Cups and Balls. I remember, oddly enough, just staying inside a Magic Castle library for like a day or 2, and just for like 8 hours straight, just watching every single version multiple times of the Cups and Balls, and learning the techniques behind every single version, what made them great, and the phases I liked, and then sourced them all together. So I'll just simply credit everyone, even though I may have not even taken a part of their routine, but their inspiration and their ideas. The World's Greatest Magic series on the Cups and Balls, volume 1 through 3, all of it is the source for this effect. And other inspiration comes from coin magic, like just vanishing coins. And you'll notice there is a huge part of just actual coin moves. I had a phase in here from Mike Gallo, where he actually gets the coin to go right on through the hand. And there's just different ideas I put together to make it a much more interesting Cups and Balls than just going through the cup, and just stacking them and that nature. It makes it a little bit, at least in my opinion, more interesting. So to do this, we need 3 dice that are visible, 1 that is invisible. I'm just kidding, there's actually 4 dice. You want them the dice to adjust to the size of the audience. These are like, I think, 1/2-inch dice. I am not sure. But just play around with it and find the right size that works for you. You'll need 4 of these dice. 3 are known to the audience, 1 is always secretly kept. Okay. You'll need 3 loads, whatever you may be. I chose a blue dice because I didn't have a 3rd red dice, and also because I thought it might add some impact, being a surprise blue load. You may have seen the red, but you didn't see the blue, which makes it a little bit more interesting. And then 3 cups. I gave away my original 3 cup set because I wasn't using this version. It was too clanky for me. It was the penguin cups. They were great cups though. To my friend Trenton, so I had to go impromptu style using these party cups, these red styrofoam party cups used for usually alcohol. And they aren't the best. As you can see in the performance, they wiggle around. They just literally just roam all around. But you have to make do, and even though that was on my first take, that video recording was a first take. Believe it or not, no edits, nothing, just raw. And there may have been a flash or 2, but for the most part, these cups do decently well, and just have a bigger environment so that these cups don't roam around so much. You can't help them fully not roaming around, but what can you do? So 3 cups, 3 loads, whatever you want. Limes are the best, and then the 3 dice, or 4 dice right here. So this is all your setup right here. 3 dice. Now I do say this as I am left-handed. If you're mirroring me as a right-handed person, you're fine. Left-handed people, just know that the loads go in the right-hand pocket. Right-handed people, it goes into your left-hand pocket. Okay? So if you're mirroring me, you're fine. Now I usually do this standing. I'm not used to doing it sitting, but it worked out pretty decently doing it sitting. Again, I'm not a sitting performer, so that's why I may have flashed more often. But just make sure my face is in the camera and everything, and all the complications that may be there and be. So if you're doing a sitting, what you can do is as you go to your bag to get the loads, you can set them in your lap. And the load order will be red, red, blue. In the performance, I thought it was red, blue, red, and so I had to take an extra second to make sure I pick up this load, not this one. But in performance, it's red, red, blue. The blue one will be loaded last into the cup. Okay, so red, red, blue, and they're just sitting in your lap. Hoping no one's behind you at your side, otherwise the whole point of sitting is wasted. Now, we have one final thing. So we have 1 dice secretly loaded into the bottom cup. And the two other cups go on top, and it goes right here. So when you pull it out, the bottom cup, you've got that dice right there. Okay, that's super little like that. It's not the best, most ideal condition for these cups because you can see a separation, but playoff is you don't care and you'll be fine. You also have to worry about the sound, but if you play it off as just you don't care, the audience doesn't care. Lovely. So, we got the dice. I just learned right now these dice are rigged. Try to get some normal dice. The spectators might comment on them, but it doesn't really matter to the effect. Anyways, so we got these dice. Yeah, they're rigged because they're the same number over and over again, which is kind of hilarious. Anyways. So we have the dice. We can just have these in our pocket. So these dice are in our pocket, or maybe they're on the table. Doesn't really matter. 3 dice loads are in your lap in red, red, blue order. There's the cups, where the bottommost cup is loaded with the dice, and we are set to go. Okay, we can spell the dice, pick them up, spell them out. You say one of them is always the leader and always stands out from all the rest. You take the other 2 and you do a coin move, a click pass, using J.C. Wagner's click pass. Looks like this. You first do it in the finger palm, thumb holding it, and then you do a transfer. You could hold one dice over here, one dice over here. You'll let one of the dice in the dominant hand fall to the recessive, the dominant fingers. Thumb holds it, and you can do a false transfer using the thumb, like finger, palm, thumb transfer with the thumb if you want. And you do a transfer, false transfer of the dice. That's one. You take the other dice in a J.C. Wagner click pass fashion. You show the other dice, and then you let it fall, clicking and clicking to the other dice. Okay, you can hear it. From the back side, looks like this. And it stays right here above the other dice, and it clicks. And you always hear an audible click. So, again, show both dice. One goes right here. That's one. Show the other dice. Drop it, and let the other dice click onto it. 2. And as you do the 2, you open your hand, open it up briefly, like it's going on through. You have to imagine what it would be like doing it. That'd be 1. And if you were to actually let it pass on through, it looks like this. Or like that. That was if you let it do a click pass and you're retaining 1. Then retaining both, 1, 2, you retain both, and it goes right on top. Okay, so one last time. 1, 2. You heard the audible click. That goes with the audience. Then we take the leader dice. You say the leader always tracks the others. Push it in a little. Give it a little motion. And then you can show all 3 go across instantly. It's a little kicker. It's a little warm-up effect for everything comes. And so if the routine's continually building with smaller routines, it just leads to this high climax that people got to feel and build up to, which is pretty cool. So we got these 2 dice, these 3 dice, and then we lead it more towards the center table and say we're going to try something cool. Or you could just have them on the side. We're first going to do the 1 cup phase. I usually skip on over this, but this is pretty cool. Get the dice, or get the bottom cup, and using your forefinger on the bottom, thumb on the outside and fingers on the other, you turn it down. Okay? And if you do it quite quickly, it'll just seem like the cup is just adjusting, and I'll make up for the dice that's actually inside. Hopefully. Or you just have the spectators a distance enough that they don't notice the actual sound. Work on it and you play with it, or you could just talk over the sound as you drop it. If I'm talking over the sound of it, you can't even really hear it or notice it that much. So play around with it, or just get cups that don't make the noise. Play around with it. Play around with different ideas. So we got the cup that has 1 dice preloaded, and we organize the dice like so. And then you take the first one, or you can take the outermost one, whichever works for you, doesn't really matter. And then you do a false finger palm transfer. And give it a little rub, and the first one goes across. You can lift with your now empty hand, displaying the cup, and showing the first dice. That's a reaction. And then to further sell the reaction, I do a dice flip. I just flip the cup, and then show it empty. So people do not think there's an extra loaded spot or something about these cups. Transfer it take it downwards, transfer it to your dominant hand that's holding the dice on finger palm, and then come on over and let the dice fall as you put the cup on top, putting 2 dice there. And it looks like so. Okay, turn it down. First finger thumb hold on the outer edge, let the dice fall from the finger palm. The cup is giving the shade and letting the cup come down, like so. Okay, in action, that's the first one. There you go. Easy as pie. Number 2, we're going to do a phase from Mike Gallo in his coin routines. It was a very cool phase I really wanted to incorporate into here. It's the ring finger that actually touches the dice, pushes in the classic palm, and then you do a, this is like a variation of the classic palm, basically just using your ring finger to make sure. And so we've got like this, and then we've done it right here. We got in a classic false transfer vanish. Now what's cool is in Mike Gallo's phase, he would do this, and then pass what would be the dice supposedly in here, and tap it on the back of the hand, and letting the dice fall out of the classic palm, which is kind of cool. So in action, it looks like so. Show the dice. It just looks really cool. It looks like the dice went right through the hand and into another and fell out. That's cool. So I'm following both his phases and guidelines, so that's the first one. Okay, and now instead of doing the same phase again, which would look like that, so you do it that way the first time, but in the second time, instead of coming over and tapping it right here and letting the dice fall out, your other hand comes on over and then taps the back of this hand and letting the dice supposedly fall through the cup, and you can have the other hand on top very fairly. If you're sitting, you would lift this hand up just to make sure you're not flashing, and then lift on up and show 2. Both hands relax. You can point with the cup, and as you're pointing with the cup, that larger action covers the smaller action of transferring this dice from classic palm, dropping it down to finger palm and readjusting. So in action, it can be right there, and that's the first one. And now I've transferred it. You don't want to go off to the edge of the table, or otherwise people think you're loading for some reason, or as I've seen in my videos. So you always have to be careful that you can do it at the right time. That wasn't perfect, but no, just get it so it's perfect. Close enough. There we go. There you go. That's the second one to go across. You could show it. Do the same loading transfer as we did before. Last one, they can actually have the spectators put their fingers on top. This is what you usually do at this phase. They do so, and then I say, everyone's wondering how this one's going to go across. Everyone's wondering. We're building it all on up, and this is the one where spectators get frustrated on. This is a coin move I'm doing with dice. I'm doing an Ed Marlowe double fake take, which he called the spider grip vanish. A variation on the spider grip vanish. I think this is actually J. Noblezada's. I'll credit J. Noblezada anyway. Do false transfer. You actually do take the dice with the ring finger. You do take the dice, push into classic, and then open up the hand and toss it with the dominant hand. And then pretend the other hand has something. Do a toss towards it. Show your hand cleanly. It's secretly here. So again, in action looks like this. I'll flash it one last time. And in action, this is what it looks like without flashing. There you go. Still retained here secretly. And you can actually let spectators go forward and them lifting up and get all 3. And then they're frustrated and they give up. You see some people so disheartened. It's so great. And then while they're reacting, it's on the offbeat moment, you transfer the dice from classic palm to finger palm. Okay. Then they react, and then you say, okay, we're going to try something a little bit different, or we'll just continue along those lines. We now take the cup and then load the dice underneath it, like before transferring, and set it along the center. And then you can take out the other 2 dice. So 1 dice is secretly under here, 3 dice in the front. So you set up the phasing. And you can keep the cups closed because we're going to need to push them inside. Show both cups empty. And then set them alongside each other. Okay, so now what we do is we do 1, and we fake take this one. It sounds weird. We're going to use our thumb and ring finger to pretend, let me see. Yeah, thumb and ring finger, pushes into the ring finger, and the other fingers coalesce with the action. So it wouldn't be just like this. That'd be weird. The other fingers coalesce with that one. And you tend to get this dice and just sweeping it underneath, but you retain it over here. Okay? So one last time. We're going to take the first dice, and we're going to put it inside, and we retain it. The second dice, there's already one dice under here. There's one in front. And we're actually going to sweep this secret dice and this dice underneath the second one. So it looks like so. I'll actually do it in real action, then we'll cover it. And that'll be the one. Well, hopefully it didn't clink. That one actually clinked. And we'll get the second one, and we'll just put it right there. No clinking that time. It was perfect. So, if I may do it again. Again, this is so much easier if I do it standing. But I'm sitting, and I want to cover all the angles. You can see my lovely face. So, we're doing it this way. So, from the back, you're letting it slide. Don't make contact with the dice, otherwise there'll be sound. And just push it. You're guiding this one underneath as you would actually do with the first one, and you're just letting that second one slide underneath, coalescing with the one underneath the cup, so you got all three. So it looks like this. Okay, and that one will go underneath the cup. And you carry out the same action as you would with everything else. I'll show you the phasing afterwards, how it would look in action. And the third one, as the same with the first one, pretend to go underneath the cup, you retain it, and it goes like here. Okay, in a loose-ish ring finger palm holding it. Maybe it's Carl palm? I don't know. Don't really care. So I'll actually do it in action. What does it look like? One's already underneath the cup from the phasing earlier, which we covered. And we got one dice underneath on the outside right here. So first one will go here. Second one will go right here. And the last one will go right here. Underneath each cup. And so what we've done is we've got one secretly right here at the end position. We've got nothing over here and all three over here. We're already done, but we're going to do the byplay Vernon did in his Cups and Balls version, which I kind of liked and I modified. We take the first one and we show it, and instead of having this little wand where he walks on over and then drops on inside, wand byplay, I said forget the wand, we don't need it. If we're good enough, we don't need the wand. People argue against me, but I don't really care. Take the dice, show it, toss on into the center cup. Okay? Now this is where it gets fun. This is where I made it fun, just because I'm opportunistic, like Eddie Fields. Take the dice, display it, say, yeah, it's invisible dice. You can transfer it to like a pretend transfer with something invisible, retaining this dice secretly right here. Or you can actually lift it up from the beginning, pretend to lift it up from the beginning, actual holding the dice right here. I'm going to take this invisible dice. You could actually see it. No, really. And then I'm going to do this from the side, revealing it. As they say, oh, no, really, you can see it. Your fingers come on over. They grab onto the dice that was in finger palm right here. And just give it an up-down motion. Again, take the dice from here. No, really, sometimes you can actually see it. And so it goes to here, and just go up and down. And I see it. You can drop it from the recessive hand to the dominant hand. And then do a finger palm transfer and really do toss it one inside. So in case it didn't actually fully transfer on over, then you get to actually see the process. So now it seems a little bit more believable and more BS, which is great, what we're going for. And we can show none over here, none over here. Watch the cups because they will move as you're seeing right now, no matter what I try. And then all three go underneath the center cup. Cool. And they're amazed. Next one is an experimental phase I just wanted to throw in here for fun. It was a little bit harder to do because of these cups. Much easier with any other cup, but let's go into it for fun. So we would say, assuming these cups stayed in the same positioning, we would say you would come from the back end. Is there really three under one? And then what we do in this action is thumb and first finger. So it's holding the dice in the dominant hand, held by the ring finger. Thumb and first finger are holding up this cup, which is going to do this action. Just come on and close. Is it really three dice under one? And so you take all three, scooping all three. You're actually retaining one into the recessive ring finger palm right here. Is it really three under one? And then you push the dice, getting one as casual as you can, I'm just going to do it a couple times so you can see it. Is it really 3 under 1, and you take 1, you put it into ring finger palm, and you retain it, and then you come underneath, and then as you set, actually we do this with 2. Sorry, I'm blanking out right now. Wow, my apologies. We actually do it with 2. 1 goes in the ring finger palm, the other just casually is being held kind of by the thumb. It could be held by the thumb, or it could just be held in the middle finger, so you can hold 1 dice on each hand. So is it really 3 under 1? And so we retain 2, and then you use the cup to cover the shade. So is it really 3 under 1, and we retain 2. The end position is actually odd. How I usually end up is, I guess, like this. You retain 2, so they're being held by the thumb, and they're kind of like this. So you can do that, end up like this. Doesn't really matter. We just need it to retain 2 dice and do that. So I'll do it a couple times in motion to see what it looks like in slow motion so you could actually see it. First finger, thumb, and then second finger, middle finger is right here. Is it really 3 under 1? And what, yeah, now I'm realizing. So you do hold 2 back with your thumb like so, and then after you've relaxed, that's when they actually come into play into the middle finger and the ring finger, like so. So it's only after the fact. Is it really 3 under 1? And you use the shade of your hand and the shade of cup to cover the fact that the only 1 goes inside, and you're retaining 2 right here. Is it really 3 under 1? Or, and you grab the cups, making sure you use the Ramsey subtlety to hide or prevent any flashing. Turn it on over. And as we readjust the cups, so we turn them on over, and we readjust the cups to make sure they're evenly aligned. And as we're doing so, we're releasing 1 dice from the ring finger and 1 dice from the ring finger or pinky, whatever you're just retaining over here. So releasing 1 dice from each one, using the cup as cover from the front, releasing each dice, and then setting them down on top. And so you set 1 under each cup, like so. So in actuality, that's the positioning. Again, I'll do it like so. Is it, it would look like so, okay. Is it really 3 underneath 1? Or rather, is it, would you say, 1 underneath all 3? And it's again, it's a little bit more difficult using these cuffs because they fly everywhere. But that's just the general message. And so we've got 1 under each. And it's just a little reverse phasing. It also sets you up for the final phase, which is great. Which we could just do by repositioning everything, but this gets us instantly to the final phase and position we need. And then, so we're in a dirty position because the dice is in our recessive hand and we need to get to our dominant hand. So what I tend to do is this phase, and this is a simple way to fix up the phasing. Take 1 of the dice, could be from any cup. We display it very openly, and then we do a shuttle pass displaying this other dice, the dice that was hitting your hand. So now your hand is free, the dice is in the dominant hand. You can set this back to where it was before, and then set all the cups up while using randomly subtlety to keep this dice secret. So again, the dice will be like this. We need to get this dice, this dice to the dominant hand. I pick up 1. So you can see why these cups are just crazy to use. I take 1 of these dice, transfer it, display it, set it back. But in impromptu situations, what can we do? And now we set the cups back on top. Now we got 1 dice in dominant hand, 1 dice under each cup, and we're all set. Okay? Or you can leave it on the outset. And because this would make sense for the next pattern line that we're going to use. It's a gag, but it's also a great one. So your choice. Leave it on top, leave it out, whatever your choice. One last time. They're out like this. Then I know it could be a lot to follow in all this madness. This could be what you could say. Another way of performing it. Yeah, I know there's 3 dice, there's 3 cups, 2 hands, 1 good-looking guy. I know it could be a lot, especially my charming good looks. So we'll break it down for you. And then that's the gag. And then you can put one cup on top of each. And now you're in the same positioning as you were before. So we take the cup, lift it on up. And as we lift it on up, we take this dice. So we're retaining the one in the dominant hand finger palm. Lift the cup on up, and then set it back down. And now we've got this dice. Okay. What we do with this dice is we transfer it to a false finger transfer. So we'll actually just put this one away. And as you tend to put it away, your hand can stay down, just relaxing. We comment with one hand, and it's with our dominant hand, holding the dice out. We'll come back to this dice in a bit. It's always an interesting one. And meanwhile, we're doing the misdirection for this. We're going to be doing two actions at once. The first action is with our recessive hand is grabbing one of the loads that we're going to be using, and it's down at the table right here. We're doing this with one hand, so it seems absolutely fair. And then as we come back down, we're loading the dice in the dominant hand, finger palm, right next to it and setting it down. So it looks like so. 2 dice. We now go to the third dice. Boom. We can jut it out. You don't have to go too far. You don't have to make exaggeration, but you just want to create some attention. And that misdirection, that brief amount of misdirection is what allows you to hold the load with the finger palm, pinky holding it from the back, and it's an 80-20 thing. 80% comes from this cup going all the way back. 20% is loading it. You do not do the 80-20 where the dice comes all the way and you load it right here. You will be caught. So we actually just, the 80% is the cup coming all the way back. We load the cup underneath, all the shade being to the table and the cup. The dice cannot be seen. We're holding it by our pinky right here, and we're setting it gently back down right here. And always work on sound in the mirror so you can reduce the sound and any flash you have. Always good to practice in front of a mirror. And we showed this dice. So again, what it looks like. So you get that positioning. So let me go back to this. Okay. And we'll actually come back to this one in a bit. It's actually a crazy one. Okay. And now for this one. This one's always the most interesting one of them all. And so we've loaded the cup, the dice load. That's the first one. We now do a set of J. Noble moves. You can play around with this however you want. I tend to just do the same way he taught it. Finger palm false transfer, vanish it, make it appear under your sleeve, spectator shoulder, whatever you want. I belch a lot. It's weird. Then we can do a false take, a fake take, where it looks like so. Same as in J. Noble Blazat's one coin routine. I'll give him full credit to that. You can rub it along here, pretend to give it to the spectator, it vanishes, and appears underneath your elbow. Give a second to let the effect register after it. And you don't have to necessarily go slow with the vanishes. But in reproducing, you got 2 seconds to reproduce it. But once you've done the reproduction, then you can go slow to let the effect register. And then, however you want to play it out. I tend to do a fake take, a spider grip vanish, toss it, vanishes. I could do the brief hand slide off technique in equipment where I could do a hand washing technique. Also in J. Noble Blazat's DVD where you drop the dice. So it's in the classic palm right now. We drop it and then we use our fingers to cover, practice in the mirror, where we turn our hand up, make sure not to flash, like we're hand washing, like we're washing our hands, doing that. Make sure you don't flash. And then you can give it a wave, snap, and then slowly show the dice as reappeared. Drop it to the other hand, and say we'll put this one away. And you pretend to put it away, secretly retained right there. And you come back down. After you come out of the pocket, we come down for the second load. We say, but this one keeps on coming back no matter what I do. And you can first lift up like so, and then you can nudge it with the outside of the cup. That's another tip you can use with this cup. Nudge it, and then as you relax, if you're to relax, you come back, and then you're your hand meets a load, 80-20 rule. That is how you do a load to be without getting caught. 80-20, and you got it right here. Okay, so come back, got it, and now we load it on up. And now we got this dice right here. So we got dice secretly in the dominant hand wrist, finger palm. We're holding on to one dice. We transfer it over here, and you say, if I really get one of these dice, and I really do put it away, and you point with your dirty hand, how many would be under the center cup? They give you. I'll do it slow. So, hand comes on over with dirty load, slowly adds it in, and lifts up. Again. One last time. All three. Now as they see this, people will be reacting because not a lot of people were expecting all three. It's 80-20 rule again, and you load the final load, the blue one this time, held by the pinky finger. We then take all the dice, and as we do the final load, set it down. There'll be a lot less noise if it was a different kind of cup, trust me. And now we set one on top of each cup for a beautiful display. You go, I thank you for your time. I hope you had a wonderful time. And you could always say, you know, a beautiful closing line. Here's another one for you. And remember to always believe in magic. So after you've done the load, you've done the 80-20, and we've done all the loads. Again, just get all three dice, load them on top for a beautiful display, and now you've got a, hopefully not let them fall. 1, 2, 3, left, right, right, left, right, or maybe you're in reverse. I'm just doing it with my dominant hand. Yeah, just recessive, dominant, recessive. Recessive, dominant, recessive, and you got a beautiful display of all. There you go. You can close your show with this. This is a beautiful thing for large audiences, something they can all see and appreciate. My name is Dan. This is my cups and balls routine that I was slightly hesitant to give up. I hope you enjoy it and have a good one.